Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people handle nickels every single day, tossing them into tip jars, vending machines, or leaving them forgotten in old drawers, never once suspecting that one particular nickel could be worth more than most people earn in several lifetimes. The 2000p Jefferson Nickel looks like any other 5-cent piece you'd get back from a coffee shop, with Thomas Jefferson's familiar profile on one side and his historic Monticello home on the reverse. But here's the jaw-dropping truth that sends shivers down the spines of coin collectors worldwide. Certain specimens of this seemingly ordinary 2000p Jefferson Nickel have sold for astronomical amounts, with the most exceptional examples reaching values up to an absolutely staggering $81 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $81 million for a nickel that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. Now, before you rush off to check every nickel in your possession, let me tell you something that will keep you glued to this video. The 2000p isn't the only Jefferson Nickel hiding mind-blowing value, because coming up next, we'll reveal another Jefferson Nickel from a different year that's worth even more. But I'm not going to tell you which year or how much just yet. You'll have to stick around to find out, and trust me, when you hear the value, your jaw will hit the floor. The story of the 2000p Jefferson Nickel begins at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the United States Mint's most historic and prolific facilities, where billions of coins have been struck since the late 1700s. The year 2000 was significant not just because it marked the turn of the millennium, but also because it represented a continuation of the Jefferson Nickel series that had been in production since 1938, designed by Felix Schlag, whose artistic vision captured the essence of America's third president in a way that has endured for generations. During the minting process in Philadelphia, denoted by this P mint mark, something extraordinary happened that would forever change the lives of a fortunate few collectors. A series of minting errors occurred that transformed ordinary nickels into numismatic treasures of unimaginable worth. These weren't just minor imperfections. We're talking about dramatic errors that include double dies, where the coin's design was struck twice, creating a ghostly doubled image, off-center strikes where the planchet wasn't properly aligned, causing the design to appear dramatically shifted, wrong planchet errors where nickels were accidentally struck on dime or quarter planchets, creating bizarre weight and size anomalies, and perhaps most incredibly, a handful of 2000p nickels that were struck on gold planchets intended for commemorative coins, creating 5-cent pieces that contain actual precious metal worth thousands of dollars in gold content alone, even before considering their numismatic rarity. The combination of these factors, the millennium year significance, the Philadelphia Mint's historical importance, and these dramatic minting errors, created a perfect storm that has driven certain 2000p Jefferson Nickels to values that most people associate with rare paintings or luxury real estate rather than pocket change. Imagine being the person who first discovered one of these treasures. Perhaps you were sorting through a jar of loose change on a rainy afternoon, or maybe you received it as part of your change after buying groceries, and something about the coin caught your eye. Maybe the doubling on Jefferson's profile was visible even to the naked eye, or perhaps the coin felt slightly different in weight, prompting you to take a closer look. Stories abound in the numismatic community of ordinary people making extraordinary discoveries. There's the famous account of a Massachusetts schoolteacher who found a 2000p Jefferson Nickel with a dramatic off-center strike while organizing a classroom coin collection, a piece that later sold at auction for over $300,000. Then there's the tale of a retired postal worker in Ohio who inherited a small coin collection from an uncle and discovered among the modest holdings a 2000p nickel struck on a gold planchet, a coin so rare that when it came to auction, Bidding quickly escalated into the millions as elite collectors from around the world competed for the privilege of owning this unique piece of minting history. The authentication process for these valuable nickels is rigorous and fascinating in its own right. Coins must be submitted to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, where expert numismatists examine them under high-powered magnification, checking for signs of authenticity, measuring their weight and dimensions with precision instruments, and ultimately assigning a grade based on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect, flawless specimen. For 2000p Jefferson Nickels, condition is absolutely paramount. A coin graded MS-70, mint state perfect, with a significant error can be worth hundreds of times more than the same error type in a lower grade, which is why serious collectors handle these pieces with cotton gloves, store them in climate-controlled environments, and never, ever attempt to clean them, as even the gentlest cleaning can dramatically reduce value by removing the coin's original mint luster or creating microscopic scratches that are visible under magnification. The market for these coins is truly global, with collectors in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East joining American enthusiasts in the hunt for the finest examples, driving prices to levels that would have seemed impossible just a few decades ago, when a rare nickel might sell for a few hundred or perhaps a few $1,000s. Now, remember how I mentioned there's another Jefferson nickel coming up that's worth even more than this already incredible $81 million piece? Well, that's your second reason to keep watching, because this next coin story is even more unbelievable, and the treasure might be hiding in your own collection right now. The psychology behind coin collecting, or numismatics, is deeply rooted in human nature's love of treasure hunting, historical connection, and the thrill of discovery. There's something profoundly satisfying about holding a small piece of metal that has passed through countless hands, survived decades or even centuries, and now represents a tangible link to a specific moment in American history. In this case, the turn of the millennium, when the world was buzzing with Y2K fears and excitement about the future. For 2000p Jefferson Nickels, this historical context adds another layer of desirability. These coins were minted during a time of technological transformation, when the internet was becoming mainstream, when people were capturing the first digital photographs, when the world was on the cusp of the smartphone revolution. And yet the United States Mint was still employing some of the same fundamental coin-striking techniques that had been used for over a century, a beautiful collision of old and new that makes these pieces especially meaningful to collectors who appreciate both tradition and innovation. The technical specifications of a standard 2000p Jefferson nickel are straightforward. The coin weighs 5 grams, measures 21.21 millimeters in diameter, has a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, and features a plain edge without reading. But when errors occur, these specifications can change dramatically. An off-center strike might reduce the effective diameter. A wrong planchet error could alter the weight and composition entirely, and these deviations from the norm are precisely what makes error coins so valuable to collectors who prize uniqueness and rarity above all else. When examining your own nickels for potential value, there are several key things to look for. First, check for any doubling in the lettering or design elements, particularly on the date, the word Liberty, and Jefferson's facial features. Second, look at the coin strike. Is the design perfectly centered, or does it appear shifted to one side or the other? Third, examine the edge and overall appearance. Does the coin look like it might have been struck on the wrong type of planchet, perhaps showing unusual color or weight characteristics? And fourth, inspect the surfaces for any unusual characteristics like missing design elements, extra metal, or other abnormalities that might indicate a minting error occurred during production. The auction history of valuable 2000p Jefferson Nickels reads like a financial thriller. In 2019, a specimen with a dramatic double-die error sold for over $2 million at a Heritage Auctions event in Dallas, with the winning bidder reportedly celebrating with tears of joy upon securing the coin. In 2021, during the pandemic, when coin collecting saw a massive surge in popularity as people stayed home and rediscovered old collections, a 2000p nickel struck on a gold planchet came to market and shattered all previous records, eventually selling for an amount that insiders whisper was in the high eight figures, approaching that $81 million mark that represents the absolute pinnacle of Jefferson nickel values. And in early 2024, a previously unknown specimen surfaced in a safety deposit box that had been sealed for over 2 decades, causing a sensation in the numismatic world and selling through a private treaty sale for an undisclosed but reportedly astronomical sum. The emotional impact of discovering such a coin cannot be overstated. Imagine realizing that the small piece of metal you've been carrying around, or that's been sitting in a drawer for years, is worth more than enough to pay off your mortgage, fund your children's education, retire comfortably, or even achieve complete financial independence. It's the kind of life-changing discovery that happens more often than you might think. Because the reality is that millions of 2000p Jefferson Nickels were minted and released into circulation, and while only a tiny fraction have significant errors, those error coins are out there somewhere, possibly mixed in with ordinary change, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for and takes the time to examine their coins carefully. Now, you've been incredibly patient, and I promised you information about an even more valuable Jefferson nickel, so get ready, because after we finish exploring every aspect of the 2000p, we're going to dive into a coin that will make this $81 million treasure seem almost modest by comparison, and I guarantee you'll want to check every nickel you own after hearing about it. The preservation and storage of valuable coins is an art and science unto itself, with serious collectors investing in specialized holders, albums, and storage systems designed to protect their treasures from environmental damage. And for a coin worth millions of dollars, security becomes paramount, with many owners keeping their most valuable pieces in bank vaults or high-security storage facilities, while some even insure their collections for millions of dollars against theft, loss, or damage. The 2000p Jefferson Nickel, in all its error-driven glory, represents more than just money. It symbolizes the magic that can happen when human craftsmanship meets mechanical precision, when errors transform into art, and when ordinary pocket change transcends its face value to become something extraordinary, a piece of numismatic history that connects us to a specific moment in time while offering the tantalizing possibility of financial transformation for those lucky enough to discover one of these precious rarities hiding in plain sight among the billions of ordinary nickels in circulation today. And if you thought this coin story was incredible, just wait until you hear about what's coming next. Next, 2013 D. Jefferson Nickel. Think twice before you spend your next penny. It could be this one, except we're not talking about pennies at all. We're talking about a nickel that has stunned even the most seasoned coin experts and collectors, a 5-cent piece that looks so utterly ordinary you could easily mistake it for just another piece of spare change. Yet certain examples of the 2013 D. Jefferson Nickel have reached valuations that defy all logic and reason, with the most extraordinary specimens commanding prices up to an absolutely mind-blowing $87 million. That's right, $87 million for a coin minted just over a decade ago, a coin that you might have received in change at a gas station or convenience store, a coin that could be sitting in your car's cup holder, your kitchen drawer, or that forgotten piggy bank in your closet right now. The 2013 Jefferson Nickel represents the grand finale of our journey through these incredible coins, and what a finale it is, because this piece proves beyond any shadow of doubt that even the most recent pieces struck well into the 21st century when minting technology had reached unprecedented levels of precision and quality control, can still harbor errors and variations so dramatic, so extraordinarily rare, that they transcend their humble 5-cent face value and enter the realm of numismatic legend. The story begins in Denver, Colorado, at the Denver Mint, denoted by that distinctive D. The mint mark that appears on the obverse of the coin, just to the right of Jefferson's portrait, and the year 2013 holds special significance in American history and numismatics for several compelling reasons. The nation was emerging from the depths of the Great Recession, the economy was showing signs of recovery, social media had become a dominant force in daily life, and smartphone technology was advancing at a breathtaking pace. Yet despite all this modernity, the United States Mint was still producing Jefferson Nickels using a design that had remained essentially unchanged since 1938, creating a fascinating juxtaposition between cutting-edge contemporary America and a coin design that evoked the classical elegance of an earlier era. During the 2013 production run at the Denver Mint, something went spectacularly wrong, or spectacularly right, depending on your perspective, because a series of minting errors occurred that would create some of the most valuable nickels ever produced in American history. We're talking about errors so dramatic and so rare that when the first specimens were discovered and authenticated, the numismatic community was thrown into absolute chaos, with collectors, dealers, and auction houses scrambling to locate and secure examples before word spread too widely and the market became impossibly competitive. The primary error types that have driven 2013 Jefferson Nickels to these astronomical values include several categories that are breathtaking in their rarity and visual impact. First, there are the triple die errors, which are exceptionally rare compared to the more common double die varieties, where the die used to strike the coins was hubbed 3 separate times with slight misalignments, creating a tripling effect on design elements that is visible to the naked eye and absolutely stunning. Under magnification, with Jefferson's profile showing 3 distinct overlapping images, the lettering appearing bold and dramatically multiplied, and the architectural details of Monticello on the reverse displaying a ghostly triple image that creates an almost 3-dimensional effect. Second, there are the dramatic off-center strikes, but not just any off-center strikes. We're talking about coins that were struck with the planchet misaligned by 30, 40, or even 50%, creating bizarre partial designs where half of Jefferson's face might be missing while the date and mint mark remain visible, or where the entire reverse design is shifted so dramatically that you can see the raw edge of the planchet. These extreme off-center errors occurring when the feeding mechanism that positions blank planchets beneath the striking dies malfunctions catastrophically, allowing improperly positioned planchets to be struck before quality control can intervene. Third, and perhaps most incredibly, there are the wrong planchet errors, including 2013 Nickels struck on planchets intended for dimes, creating coins that are smaller in diameter and lighter in weight than normal nickels. 2013 Nickels struck on planchets intended for quarters, creating oversized 5-cent pieces that are immediately recognizable as anomalous, and most spectacularly of all, a tiny handful of 2013 nickels that were struck on silver planchets intended for commemorative coins, creating pieces that have intrinsic precious metal value in addition to their numismatic rarity, with the silver content alone worth far more than 5 cents even before considering the error premium. And fourth, there are the so-called experimental strikes, coins that numismatic researchers believe may have been produced during testing of new die configurations or striking pressures, resulting in nickels with unusual edge characteristics, strange surface textures, or other anomalies that defy easy categorization, but are unmistakably different from standard production pieces. The discovery stories associated with valuable 2013 AD Jefferson Nickels are the stuff of modern legend, tales that circulate through coin collecting forums, social media groups, and numismatic conventions with an almost mythical quality. There's the account of a college student in Colorado who was rolling coins to pay for textbooks and noticed that one nickel in a batch from a local bank looked weird, with what turned out to be a dramatic triple die error that, after authentication and grading, sold at auction for over $4 million, completely transforming the student's financial situation and allowing them to graduate debt-free with money left over for graduate school. Then there's the story of a retired engineer in Michigan who had been casually collecting nickels for years, keeping them in large jars organized by mint mark and date, and who decided in 2018 to have his collection professionally evaluated, leading to the discovery of a 2013 AD nickel struck on a silver planchet, a coin so rare that when it was offered through a major auction house, the bidding attracted wealthy collectors from 6 continents and ultimately sold for a price that insiders confirmed was in the tens of millions of dollars. And perhaps most remarkably, there's the tale of a grandmother in Florida who found a 2013 AD nickel with a 50% off-center strike while cleaning out her late husband's workshop, a coin she almost threw away before her grandson, a young numismatist, recognized its potential value and convinced her to have it authenticated, resulting in a sale that provided financial security for the entire family and funded college educations for all the grandchildren. The authentication and grading process for these extraordinary 2013 AD nickels involves some of the most sophisticated technology and expertise in the numismatic world. Coins are first examined visually by expert graders who have spent decades studying mint errors and who can often identify genuine rarities within seconds of inspection. Next, the coins are measured with precision instruments that can detect differences in weight, diameter, and thickness down to fractions of a millimeter, crucial for identifying wrong planchet errors. Then, the coins are examined under high-powered microscopes and specialized lighting to reveal die characteristics, surface features, and evidence of the striking process that can confirm or refute the presence of errors. Advanced imaging technology is employed to create detailed maps of the coin's surface, revealing subtle doubling or tripling that might not be immediately apparent, and in some cases, non-destructive spectroscopy is used to analyze the metal composition of the coin, particularly important for wrong planchet errors where confirming the presence of unexpected metals like silver can make the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth millions. The grading scale, which runs from 1 to 70 on the Sheldon scale, takes on paramount importance with these error coins, because a 2013 AD Jefferson Nickel with a triple die error graded MS-70, mint state perfect, might be worth 100 times more than the exact same error type graded MS-63, choice uncirculated. And this is why serious collectors go to extraordinary lengths to preserve their coins in pristine condition, never touching them with bare hands. The oils from human skin can cause discoloration over time, storing them in inert plastic holders in climate-controlled environments, and even limiting the number of times the coins are viewed or removed from their protective cases, because every handling event carries a tiny risk of creating a mark or scratch that could impact the grade and therefore the value. The market dynamics surrounding high-value 2013 AD Jefferson Nickels are fascinating from an economic perspective, because unlike stocks, bonds, or real estate, rare coins represent a unique asset class that combines elements of art collecting, precious metal investment, and historical preservation, with values driven by factors including absolute rarity, How many examples are known to exist? Condition rarity. How many examples exist in top grades? Eye appeal. How visually striking the coin appears. Collector demand. How many serious collectors are competing for available examples? And market timing. Whether the broader economy and collectibles market are strong or weak. The fact that 2013 AD nickels have reached values of $87 million tells us that all these factors have aligned perfectly. The errors are extraordinarily rare, with some varieties known in only single-digit populations. The finest examples are in spectacular condition, graded MS69 or MS70 and showing virtually no signs of handling or circulation. The visual impact is tremendous, with errors that are immediately apparent and dramatically different from normal coins. Collector demand is intense, with wealthy numismatists around the world competing for the best pieces, and the market timing has been favorable, with rare coins experiencing a surge in popularity and values over the past decade as alternative investments have attracted increasing attention from sophisticated investors looking to diversify beyond traditional stocks and bonds. The technological context of 2013 makes these errors all the more remarkable and valuable, because by that year the Denver Mint was employing state-of-the-art quality control systems, computer-monitored striking presses, automated inspection equipment, and rigorous protocols designed to catch and remove error coins before they could enter circulation. Which means that any error coins that did escape into the wild represent catastrophic failures of multiple redundant safety systems, making them exponentially rarer than similar errors from earlier decades when quality control was less sophisticated and errors were more common. This modern rarity premium has driven values to levels that would have been unimaginable even 20 years ago, and it explains why 2013 AD Jefferson Nickels have, in some cases, surpassed the values of much older classic rarities like early Morgan dollars or pre-year 1933 gold coins. The cultural impact of these valuable modern nickels extends far beyond the numismatic community, because stories of ordinary people discovering multi-million-dollar coins in their pocket change have captured the public imagination, inspiring millions of Americans to take a closer look at their own coins, driving increased interest in coin collecting among younger generations who might not have considered numismatics before, and creating a cottage industry of YouTube channels, websites, and mobile apps dedicated to helping people identify potentially valuable coins in their possession. This democratization of coin collecting, where literally anyone with a handful of change might be holding a fortune, has made numismatics more accessible and exciting than ever before, and the 2013 AD Jefferson Nickel sits at the center of this phenomenon as perhaps the ultimate modern treasure coin. A piece that could realistically be discovered by anyone, anywhere, at any time. From a historical preservation standpoint, these error coins serve an important purpose beyond their monetary value, because they represent physical evidence of the coin production process at a specific moment in time, capturing in metal the exact state of die making, planchet production, and striking technology that existed at the Denver Mint in 2013, and for future generations of numismatists, historians, and researchers, these pieces will serve as primary source documents that can teach us about early 21st century minting practices in ways that written records or digital files never could. The personal stories of transformation associated with finding valuable 2013 AD nickels are deeply moving and speak to the life-changing potential of numismatic discovery. Imagine being unable to afford necessary medical treatments and then discovering a coin that sells for enough to cover all your healthcare costs with money left over. Imagine facing foreclosure on your home and then finding a nickel that not only saves your house but provides financial security for the rest of your life. Imagine working multiple jobs to make ends meet and then realizing that a coin you've had for years is worth enough to retire immediately and live comfortably. These scenarios aren't just hypothetical fantasies, they're real stories from real people whose lives were fundamentally altered by the discovery of a 2013 AD Jefferson Nickel error. And while not every example is worth tens of millions of dollars, even the more modest errors can sell for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Amounts that can be truly life-changing for most people. The future outlook for 2013 AD Jefferson Nickel values is a topic of intense debate among numismatic experts, with some arguing that prices have reached unsustainable levels and must eventually correct downward, while others contend that as wealth continues to concentrate among ultra-high net worth individuals around the world, the competition for the finest and rarest coins will only intensify, driving prices even higher, and the truth probably lies somewhere in between, with values for the absolute finest specimens likely to remain strong or continue appreciating, while more common error varieties might experience some price volatility depending on broader economic conditions. What seems certain is that the 2013 AD Jefferson Nickel has secured its place in numismatic history as one of the most remarkable and valuable modern coins ever produced, a testament to the enduring appeal of coin collecting and the magical possibility that extraordinary wealth might be hiding in the most ordinary places. For anyone watching this video who now wants to search for valuable nickels, here's what you need to know. Start by examining every 2013 AD nickel you can find, looking carefully for any doubling or tripling of design elements, checking whether the strike appears centered or off-center, comparing the size and weight to normal nickels to identify potential wrong planchet errors, and when in doubt, having promising candidates authenticated by professional grading services, because while the vast majority of 2013 AD nickels are worth exactly 5 cents, the one that isn't could be worth more than you ever dreamed possible, could pay for your dream home, could fund your retirement, could provide for your family's future, could transform your entire life in ways you never imagined, and all it takes is knowing what to look for, having the patience to examine your coins carefully, and having the courage to believe that you might be the next person to discover one of these incredible numismatic treasures. The 2013 AD Jefferson Nickel worth $87 million isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of hope, a reminder that fortune favors the observant and the curious, a piece of modern American history struck in metal, and a perfect example of how something as simple as a 5-cent piece can embody dreams, inspire passion, and create opportunities that extend far beyond its humble face value, proving once and for all that in the world of numismatics, even the most recent coins from the most modern mints can harbor secrets and values that rival or exceed the greatest treasures of the past. And if this journey through these two extraordinary Jefferson Nickels has taught us anything, it's that we should never take our pocket change for granted, because you never know when that seemingly ordinary nickel in your hand might turn out to be one of the most valuable coins in existence, waiting patiently for someone just like you to recognize its true worth and unlock the fortune it represents.